Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about 3 of the biggest mistakes you can make in wound care. Specifically, we're going to discuss 3 mistakes I made when managing my first clinic and the consequences. Just a quick disclaimer here. I do not make this to attack anyone or to blame. I take full responsibility for my own mistakes. But I make this content to help providers with smaller businesses to avoid the mistakes I made and be more likely to succeed. Okay, let's dive in. So the first major mistake I made was I hired bad providers. And so specific, I hired providers who were not skilled in the ways I needed them to be in order for our business to succeed. And the consequences of that were as follows. So number 1, low revenue. When you have providers that are not highly skilled, they oftentimes will avoid higher skilled procedures because they're not comfortable with them, or it might even be because they just rather take an easier route. Who knows? But the point is, you will experience lower revenue. Number 2, lower healing rates. And so I like to think of this as lower customer satisfaction, which we did not necessarily explicitly have, but essentially we had many patients that ended up staying on our census far longer than they needed to. And so that wasn't a plus, that was a minus. Number 3, high liability. And so what you find out, especially after a provider leaves, is that the poor documentation practices that they have increased your liability. You find out that the lack of quality treatment they provided, again, increased your liability. And so you want to be extremely careful and extremely well prepared to hire the best providers you can in wound care. You want to hire providers that have a track record that you can verify of providing excellent wound care and excellent documentation. Number 2, the next big mistake I made was hiring bad billers. And so there was consequences to this that were very severe. The first one is cash flow issues. So if you have a biller where for the last year you've been wondering where all of your money is, you feel like 70% of what you've done has actually gotten paid, you keep hearing reasons why nothing changes, that's a red flag in my experience. If you have cash flow issues perpetually, you have a billing problem. Number 2, I had 6 figures in lost revenue. So when I look back through the records, I could see clearly we lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in claims that never got paid because denials allegedly were dealt with, but were never dealt with. And so over the years, we lost, again, just an incredible amount of money because of trusting a biller or billers that really didn't have their stuff together and really were not organized to deliver the service that they were promising. And number 3, early on, I lost an audit because the biller told me that they had responded to it when in reality they did not. And the time of the response window had closed and we had to pay all of that money back. And so again, hiring a bad biller can put you out of business. I believe there was some type of report done where the number 1 reason why healthcare providers who own a business go out of business is because of billing. And so you want to be ultra careful to find a good biller. And number 3, lack of process. And so I didn't take the time early on to actually make written processes and hold my staff accountable to following those processes. And so as a result, the following problems happened. Service failures. So there were many times where we could not handle taking on more patients or failed to deliver on a service that we had promised because we were disorganized. Being disorganized made it hard to scale, right? It was like 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. We continually had challenges taking on new patients and adequately meeting the needs of those patients, again, because we were disorganized, and we were disorganized because I, as a leader, did not institute and create processes that worked. And the third challenge that this created was frustration. And so we all know what it's like to work in an organization or in a company where there's just tension, right? Like there's just people are frustrated, and that makes everything else you're going through much harder. And that was as a result of lack of process. It's like walking in the dark and trying to get out of a room. And so these are 3 mistakes I made early on that took me a long time to figure out, fix, and recover from the consequences of. And so I make this content because I really want to help as many providers as I can avoid this. And I feel like in wound care, we don't have a lot of operators, a lot of managers, a lot of distributors, or whoever else has been on the front lines of wound care, really talking about the realities of the mistakes made and honestly how they can be avoided. And so these are the 3 big mistakes that I made, and I hope you can learn from them in this video.